Why am I here? Before I attempt to guide you on how to build a nation, let's just go back a bit. Let's start with maybe a little bit trying to get to know me a little bit. So I am a lawyer and a diplomat by training. And growing up, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew it, I wanted what I wanted to do, and I went for it. So I think it came to a bit of a surprise to my parents when I finished my formal education, and I didn't want to be a lawyer nor a diplomat. So what do? So I looked around, and what I thought I'll do is, I wanted to work in something that made my heart burn. Yeah, I'm weird like that. I wanted heartburn going in, right? So with that one constant, I went in. I went into the unknown. So what did I do? I joined the development sector. I was quite lucky to go right into the field right at the end of the war. I saw a lot of things. I heard a lot of things. And there were times when I used to come back home and I would cry myself to sleep. I saw heartbreaking and numerous examples of how communities and families were left in this vicious cycle of dependency, when well-meant development initiatives left them without any hope. And in the Sri Lankan context, this is quite dangerous because we've seen for the past 30 years of our country, when communities are left without hope, they will seek violence to actually get what they have lost. So, what did I do? I looked around a little more. I saw this massive problem. I saw a problem, but I was not someone who would see a problem and then take no for an answer. I would find a solution. I looked around, I did my research, and I saw a very interesting model of how business enters the development sector to fill in these gaps that are left behind. And this was very interesting to me, although not a very novel idea around the world. In Sri Lanka, the private sector is largely left from all discussions of development. We are seen as this, evil, capitalistic, money-mongering people. But, there was a potential here. And I looked a little bit more. And what do I find? Right at home. A social enterprise working in the northwestern province of Sri Lanka, in Kurunegala. And it was sitting right at home. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes your mother really is always right. So, what is a social enterprise? We are businesses, yes. We make profit, yes. But entrenched within our businesses are the mechanisms to deal with social or environmental problems. For instance, we invest over 75% of our profit back into the business and therefore back into the communities that we work with. So essentially, doing good is good for business. I didn't say it, Richard Branson did. I just live it. So, but now let's begin. This is my story, this is our story, and this is where I want to start. And I really hope it inspires you as it has done me. We started with my mother 25 years ago in my home garage. There was 15 women to start with. I remember running around, it was in my garage, right? So I remember running around, worrying these women to please sew the clothes of my dolls. So it was pretty cool growing up with all these colors and all this thread and all of that. But later on into the business, my uncle joined, and together he even got on bikes to take rolls of fabric to suppliers, to buyers who wanted our products. My mother nor my uncle had much entrepreneurial knowledge starting in. She's a lawyer by profession, but she had this instinct. He had this instinct. And I think it worked out well for them. So with this instinct and this one single underlying principle of always being true to your mission, we went on. And so where does that leave me? the next generation. You know, it's not always very glorified to inherit a business, because unlike when you start it, you not only disappoint your mother, but you also disappoint all the people who work with you if I fail. So my role in the company is taking it forward, consolidating that it's a social enterprise, looking at it with new business skills, looking at innovation, and taking ahead and making it something the country can be proud of, we can be proud of, and the world can look as an example. So I'm here today to represent my women. We grew from 15 women to 1,000, and that is something we are very proud of. They come from different backgrounds, they have different stories, and they are who we work for. And our entire organization is structured to take into account the context of the realities of the life of a rural woman. Let me just give you a little brief on that. Most of the women who work with us are between the ages of 30 and 65. They are unable to get any kind of employment in the mainstream job market due to various reasons. Marriage, cultural stereotypes, having to look after children or grandchildren at homes, their husbands not allowing them to work, their mother-in-laws not allowing them to work. But you know, the economy or the context is such that there is need for additional income at home. So we give them this opportunity. These are again some of the younger girls who work with us. So it is with this context that we have moved forward, and we didn't think of it as soon as we started, you know. Our business grew, our ideas grew, our model grew. And let me just take a moment to explain how we work. So we started in a typical factory setting. We had what was called a handloom workshop and a toy factory and a dye plant. And when we were working in this way, we realized that, you know, we were really finding it difficult to get people to come to work with us into the towns, into the urban space, because of some of the reasons that I outlined before. So one day, by accident, one lady who was working with us for about 10 years had to leave work, had to leave our factory, and she said, "Madam, can I please take work home?" So we started outsourcing, or not really outsourcing, but we allowed her to take the work home. And little by little, that grew and grew and grew. And yes, that's the final growth. So now we have 200 home workers who work for us. And this is not really unique. So let me talk a little bit about what makes us even more unique. So when these ladies who are now working from home, they started coming to us and say, "Madam, there's 5 or 6 more women who want to work with me in my village." So we were like, okay, that's interesting. So what did we do? We started empowering them as businesses. We started giving them the skills to grow businesses in their own hometowns, in their home villages. So this entails things from loans to technical skills, to expertise, to raw material, to all these different aspects that actually allow someone to work or to build a business, to grow a business. And in this way, we are very proud today to have 20 independent workshops. And they are in the northwestern province of this country, in the eastern province, and also now recently in the northern province. So what we do here is that we give them a space to work, and we allow them to live in the comfort of their own villages and work with what we have. And many people ask me, why are you creating your own competition? I mean, any business person is going to, in this audience, is looking at me and saying, "You're really stupid, you're creating your own competition." But I tell them, we tell them, that this is the commitment we have towards our people. And what we do, more than anything, is give them access to the market. So let me elaborate with another example. With an example, you can also see her story in the screen in our little stall there. This is Sita Ekanayaka. She's one of our most successful such entrepreneurs. She came to us when she had to mortgage her house to pay off some debts. She was in the handloom industry, and she was incurring a lot of debt because the buyer who was buying from her hadn't paid her. So she came with came with her husband, not mine. She came with her husband. That would be really weird. So she came with her husband. Right, I got that right. To my mother's law office. And she was like, she wanted to do this mortgage. And then my mother said, okay, look, we have this interesting idea. What do you think? Do you want to join us? She said yes. She came to us in a bike. She started in that mud hut. Today, she employs over 35 women in her village, and she has converted her home garden into a working space. And not just that, ladies and gentlemen, the other major problem that the women in her village face is the only other employment for this category of women is to go abroad as migrant workers. I don't have to use this time to tell each and every one of you the kind of horrors that our women face when they go out to work like this. Not just the women, but the families that are left behind. So what Sita does is not just run a profitable business. She gives the option for the women of her village to stay with her children. She gives the children the option to stay with their mothers. Imagine that. And so what I told you before is that social enterprises are companies that have entrenched within our, our business mechanism, our model, to address social or environmental issues. So another issue that we see in society is these women who work for us can't leave their kids at home. And also, to a certain extent, they don't have, not at all, they don't have access to English medium. So we've set up these daycare centers in our workshops where they can bring their kids to work. And once I was there in one of our workshops, and the lady came running to me and she said, madam, my daughter told me to go to bed, and she spoke in English. She's so happy about it, right? And we also provide health, food, and medical or health services is another area that we provide. And also alcoholism. Alcoholism in our society, domestic abuse in our society are problems that stop women from coming to work. So what is good for our business is good for society. We are helping our communities grow, and at the same time, it's helping our business, because what we need is people to work with us. Having and investing in a good team is another very important strategy. So we provide leadership and education, leadership and entrepreneurial skills to our team. We don't attract the kind of young people who are attracted to MAS or Hydramani's. We can't give the cars, we can't give the fancy offices. We just can't. We are in the handloom industry in Sri Lanka. But we need a good team. We need the same business skill. So what we do is we take the stars and the champions and train them to think, to identify the opportunities around them, because that's what entrepreneurs should do. So today we stand. Where do we stand? In my organization, in our organization, there are people who stand on their own. They think on their own. And with or without us, they're able to continue. Their communities are able to thrive. And that is how we break the dependency. So, 25 years later, we are 1,000 members strong. And our organization is just going to get bigger and better. We are continuing to innovate. We are continuing to see, we have a large vision, and we are continuing to go there. And in that way, we are Sri Lanka's only fair trade guaranteed handloom company. We were selected among 9 in the world to actually pilot for this label. And also, among 77 countries who competed, we won the most inspirational SME award awarded by the Dutch government. So, no monkey business, people. It's not easy. It's not easy. There are times when we have to close down our entire factory for 1 week when there's a funeral. It's not easy. You know, what am I going to tell my buyer in Netherlands? He doesn't care, not really, right? So it's not easy. You have to have the internal mechanisms. You have to run like a business. And also on the other end, you have to keep your customers happy. You have to innovate. Your products have to be amazing. Once they will come into my shop because they love my story, but I'm sorry, they're not going to come again. So innovation, keep your prices competitive. You know, I mean, I see a lot of startups coming up and you know, the prices are crazy. You have to get the attention of your customer base. Then they will keep coming back to you. And yeah, so no matter how cute they are, no monkey business. So to conclude, if you are a young entrepreneur sitting in this room and you want to think outside the box, you want to be different, identify a social or environmental problem, understand your market, create a social business model, transform your community into partners, innovate, product, price, service, team, and at the same time, keep alive the Sri Lankan traditions. Be who to who we are. Be true to who we are. And make profit. So, I want to end by saying that all my life, I've been inspired by the lives of my parents. They have always taken a different route, you know. They never ever stuck to what was normal. And my mother once told me, Aki, leave behind a legacy, you know, and that is where I want to go. And not just myself. This story, this model, you can do. You can do, and you can do. So get inspired. Think about what this society needs. Think about what our country needs. And live it, do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that this is your country. Love it and own it. Thank you very much.